Whatever you do in life, surround yourself with smart people who'll argue with you. Talent is God-given. Be humble. Fame is man-given. Be grateful. Conceit is self-given. Be careful. It's the little details that are vital. Little things make big things happen. If you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over? Success is never final. Failure is never fatal. It's courage that counts. The most important thing in the world is family and love. Things turn out best for the people who make the best of the way things turn out. Failure is not fatal, but failure to change might be. If you're not making mistakes, then you're not doing anything. I'm positive that a doer makes mistakes. Be true to yourself, help others, make each day your masterpiece, make friendship a fine art, drink deeply from good books, especially the Bible. Build a shelter against a rainy day, give thanks for your blessings and pray for guidance every day. There are many things that are essential to arriving at true peace of mind, and one of the most important is faith, which cannot be acquired without prayer. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you are capable of becoming. Don't let making a living prevent you from making a life. We can have no progress without change, whether it be basketball or anything else. Today is the only day. Yesterday is gone. Teaching players during practices was what coaching was all about to me. You can lose when you outscore somebody in a game, and you can win when you're outscored. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to become the best of which you are capable. In the end, it's about the teaching, and what I always loved about coaching was the practices. Not the games, not the tournaments, not the alumni stuff. But teaching the players during practice was what coaching was all about to me. If a player's not doing the things he should, put him on the bench. He'll come around. I had 3 rules for my players: no profanity. Don't criticize a teammate. Never be late. Don't give up on your dreams, or your dreams will give up on you. Well, if you're true to yourself, you're going to be true to everyone else. I am just a common man who is true to his beliefs. Just try to be the best you can be. Never cease trying to be the best you can be. That's in your power. Do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. You can't let praise or criticism get to you. It's a weakness to get caught up in either one. All of life is peaks and valleys. Don't let the peaks get too high and the valleys too low. Success comes from knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming. I think the teaching profession contributes more to the future of our society than any other single profession. Friendship is two-sided. It isn't a friend just because someone's doing something nice for you. That's a nice person. There's friendship when you do for each other. It's like marriage, it's two-sided. Be true to yourself. Make each day a masterpiece. Help others. Drink deeply from good books. Make friendship a fine art. Build a shelter against a rainy day. Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. What you are as a person is far more important than what you are as a basketball player. It isn't what you do, but how you do it. Material possessions, winning scores, and great reputations are meaningless in the eyes of the Lord, because He knows what we really are, and that is all that matters. There's as much crookedness as you want to find. There was something Abraham Lincoln said, he'd rather trust and be disappointed than distrust and be miserable all the time. Maybe I trusted too much. My eyesight is not nearly as good. My hearing is probably going away. My memory is slipping too. But I'm still around. Defense is a definite part of the game, and a great part of defense is learning to play it without fouling. Don't measure yourself by what you have accomplished, but by what you should have accomplished with your ability. I'd rather have a lot of talent and a little experience than a lot of experience and a little talent. It's what you learn after you know it all that counts. It's not so important who starts the game but who finishes it. A coach is someone who can give correction without causing resentment. I think you have to be what you are. Don't try to be somebody else. You have to be yourself at all times. Just do the best you can. No one can do more than that. I worry that business leaders are more interested in material gain than they are in having the patience to build up a strong organization. And a strong organization starts with caring for their people. If I am through learning, I am through. Adversity is the state in which man most easily becomes acquainted with himself, being especially free of admirers then. Well, your greatest joy definitely comes from doing something for another, especially when it was done with no thought of something in return. If there's anything you could point out where I was a little different, it was the fact that I never mentioned winning. Consider the rights of others before your own feelings, and the feelings of others before your own rights. If I were a young coach today, I would be extremely careful in selecting assistants. I'd be satisfied just coaching in high school. I turned down a number of colleges when I was teaching in South Bend, Indiana, before I went into the service. I honestly believe that if I hadn't enlisted in the service, I would never have left high school teaching. I'm sure I would have never left. I found golf was too time-consuming, but I did enjoy it. I met Tiger Woods when he was younger. He's amazing, obviously technically, but his mental approach, too. He's really something. I seldom was ever off my seat on the bench during the game. The main ingredient of stardom is the rest of the team. Love is the most important thing in the world. Hate, we should remove from the dictionary. I talked to the players and tried to make them aware of what was good and bad, but I didn't try to run their lives. I'm no wizard, and I don't like being thought of in that light at all. I think of a wizard as being some sort of magician or something, doing something on the sly or something, and I don't want to be thought of in that way. Earn the right to be proud and confident. I think permitting the game to become too physical takes away a little bit of the beauty. When you hurry, you're more apt to make mistakes. But you have to be quick. If you're not quick, you can't get things done. You can do more good by being good than any other way. Failure is never fatal, but failure to change can and might be. You can't live a perfect day without doing something for someone who will never be able to repay you. I don't think I was a fine game coach. I'm trying to be honest. I think I was a good practice coach. Somebody asked me, how come it took you so long to win a national championship? And I said, I'm a slow learner, but you notice when I learn something, I have it down pretty good. I'm not going to say I was opposed to the Vietnam War. I'm going to say I'm opposed to war. But I'm also opposed to protests that deny other people their rights. I was built up from my dad more than anyone else. Be more concerned with your character than your reputation. No one can really honestly be the very best, no one. I like to spend time in the past, with the things that have been important to me. When everyone is thinking the same, no one is thinking. Pete and Andre McCarter and another high-powered scorer in high school and became the best pair of defensive players I ever had in the backcourt. They embraced those roles for the welfare of the whole team. I don't get all wound up. I accept things as they come. I've always stressed moderation. I never got too high or too low. I think it helps being on an even keel. It was the same way with our players. I never wanted any excessive celebration if we outscored someone in a game or excessive dejection if we didn't. If you can stick to it, it helps. I'd like to very much because that's home back there. I feel that I make an honest living. I take care of my children. I feel that there should be something for me. What you are as a person is far more important than what you are as a basketball player. His style would not cut it with me. I wanted the socks all pulled up neatly and I didn't permit long hair. He was different. It was a great attraction. He made fancy shots that I wouldn't allow a player to take. I think that in any group activity, whether it be business, sports, or family, there has to be leadership or it won't be successful. Success is peace of mind, a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming, and not just in a physical way. Seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be yours as well. It doesn't make any difference what they go on to. It's a great feeling to see them doing well. I'm just as proud of the ministers and the doctors and the attorneys and the businessmen and every one of them. I would never have a player come close to taking that many shots in a game. I don't ever recall seeing a player who could do so much with a basketball, but he never played on a championship team. The good Lord in His infinite wisdom did not create us all equal when it comes to size, strength, appearance, or various aptitudes. But success is not being better than someone else. Success is the peace of mind that is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing that you gave your best effort to become the best of which you are capable. Good things take time, as they should. We shouldn't expect good things to happen overnight. Actually, getting something too easily or too soon can cheapen the outcome. Better than any person my age has a right to. Ben has really embraced the tradition of the program, and growing up in Southern California, he understands what it really means. To see him teaching those same principles to his players just gives me a lot of pride. Be more concerned with your character than with your reputation. Your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. Bill, I know what the other schools say. If you come to UCLA, I can't promise you'll make our team. Don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. Don't measure yourself by what you have accomplished, but what you should have accomplished with your ability. Things turn out best for people who make the best out of the way things turn out. Quickness under control is the most valuable physical aspect of any sport. I wanted more strengthening of the long, supple muscles. I wasn't just looking for strength. Adversity is the state in which man mostly easily becomes acquainted with himself, being especially free of admirers then. A player who makes a team great is much more valuable than a great player. That's good, Bill. I admire people who have strong beliefs and stick by them. I really do. We're going to miss you. They're going to film it out at my place and show it during the weekend. Absolutely. One of the things I used to say is there is absolutely no excuse for a good offensive man to not be a good defensive man. You have to be committed to it. It is what we learn after we know it all that really counts. Not only was he fundamentally sound, but I liked his attitude. He was competitive, yet a gentleman in his play. I thought they played just wonderful basketball. I liked quickness very much and Pete had it. And I really liked his acceptance of the role he had. He didn't get to play nearly as much as he expected to when he came, but he accepted it. If you get caught up in things over which you have no control, it will adversely affect those things over which you have control. I never wanted a championship as much as I did that first one. After the first one in 1964, the titles seemed to come in droves. I also think I became a better coach after winning that first championship. I still continue to emphasize winning the conference, but I became a better tournament coach, putting less pressure on the players. It has to be a team concept. It isn't an individual game. Being selected for the McDonald's All-American Games is one of the greatest accomplishments in a basketball player's career. Not only will these youth contribute to the list of the best basketball players of all time, but they will aid in raising money for a very important cause. But he passed him a long time ago in losses. You shouldn't pit those two against each other. Both are very good coaches. I would not tolerate profanity from anyone, anytime. I'd blow the whistle, pull you from the court and put you on the bench and talk to you before I would put you back in. I think anyone's success depends on working hard, industriousness and enthusiasm, enjoying what you are doing. You can't work your best if you're not enjoying what you are doing. No way you can force yourself to. My bench never heard me mention winning. My whole emphasis was for each one of my players to try to learn to execute the fundamentals to the best of their ability. Not to try to be better than somebody else, but to learn from others, and never cease trying to be the best they could be. That's what I emphasized more than anything else. Lead, don't drive. And give credit. Don't blame. If an officer on your team suggested something and it worked well, give them credit. If it doesn't work well, you take the blame because you made the decision. Effective leaders are, first and foremost, good teachers. We're in the education business. You can't make good decisions that are going to be meaningful, productive, when you lose control, and you have to maintain mental control, emotional control, and to be able to perform physically up to your own particular level of competency. You have to keep your emotions under control. Parenting is the most important profession in the world. The true leader isn't really looking for leadership. He's trying to set an example and be in the proper way to get the most productive results and don't realize it. When the followers get something done, if the leader has been what he should, they'll feel like they did it, not him. That's the way it should be. Not everyone is equipped to be a leader, but in a sense, everyone is a leader to someone, even though you're not equipped. I think parents are a leader to youngsters, teachers are leaders, coaches are leaders, businessmen are leaders. A leader must listen to those under their supervision. The leader has to command the respect of all those under his supervision, and he must be open to those under his supervision. Effective leadership means having a lot of people working toward a common goal. And when you have that with no one caring who gets the credit, you're going to accomplish a lot. If you have those just wanting the credit for themselves, you're not going to get as much accomplished. Hardship brings people closer together if you share it. Too often, we just ask for help instead of really giving thanks for the many things that we've had and are so helpful to us that we did nothing to deserve. So we should give thanks each and every day and pray for guidance in helping us along the proper path. I also wanted my basketball players to know that I really cared about them. Forget basketball, as a person, I cared about their family. Motivating through fear may work in the short term to get people to do something, but over the long run I believe personal pride is a much greater motivator. It produces far better results that last for a much longer time. The team with the most talent usually wins. The time to prepare isn't after you have been given the opportunity. It's long before that opportunity arises. Once the opportunity arrives, it's too late to prepare. Winning games, titles, and championships isn't all it's cracked up to be, but getting there, the journey, is a lot more than it's cracked up to be. As I grow older, I appreciate things that I didn't appreciate much when I was younger. I am thankful more than I used to be. I've been reasonably healthy, and I feel blessed. And each morning I can think, this is going to be a good day. What is right is more important than who is right. Don't be afraid to fail. The greatest failure of all is failure to act when action is needed. Use the information that you've acquired in the past through the experiences you've had and act with self-control, but act. You cannot attain and maintain physical condition unless you are morally and mentally conditioned. And it is impossible to be in moral condition unless you are spiritually conditioned. I always told my players that our team condition depended on two factors: how hard they worked on the floor during practice and how well they behaved between practices. For an athlete to function properly, he must be intent. There has to be a definite purpose and goal if you are to progress. If you are not intent about what you are doing, you aren't able to resist the temptation to do something else that might be more fun at the moment. Approval is a greater motivator than disapproval, but we have to disapprove on occasion when we correct. It's necessary. I make corrections only after I have proved to the individual that I highly value him. If they know we care for them, our correction won't be seen as judgmental. I also try to never make it personal. Passion is temporary. It doesn't last long. Love is enduring. And that's the important thing. If we all had love in our lives to the degree that we should, it would be much happier. Your energy and enjoyment, drive and dedication will stimulate and greatly inspire others. Generally speaking, individual performances don't win basketball games. It's too late for preparation when opportunity strikes. You have not taught until they have learned. It takes 10 hands to score a basket. As a leader, you will receive a large amount of praise and criticism, and you should not unduly affected by either. Never lie, never cheat, never steal. Whatever you're doing, you must have patience. When you get to be 95, travel doesn't come as easily. Cervantes said the journey's better than the end. Practices, to me, were the journey. A knowledge of and the ability to properly and quickly execute the fundamentals. Be prepared and cover every little detail. Cultivate the ability to make decisions and think alone. Do not be afraid of failure, but learn from it. Practice self-discipline and keep emotions under control. Good judgment and common sense are essential. Forget favors given, remember those received. The team that makes the most mistakes usually wins, because doers make mistakes. Nothing can give you greater joy than doing something for another. Make your yes mean yes, and your no mean no. Be quick, but don't hurry. When I am through learning, I am through. I am not a strategic coach, I am a practice coach. Conditioning is essential to success in basketball. We may not be the best conditioned team in the country, but our players think they are. Do passing drills that come from your offense. The greatest ally you have to get things working well and the players performing as a team is the bench. Don't be afraid to use it, either for the star player or anyone else. Helping others is perhaps the greatest joy. You cannot have a perfect day without helping others with no thought of getting something in return. Intensity makes you stronger. Emotionalism makes you weaker. Don't mistake activity with achievement. Your reputation is what you're perceived to be, your character is what you really are. It isn't about what you do, but how you do it. It is most difficult, in my mind, to separate any success, whether it be in your profession, your family, or as in my case, in basketball, from religion. We will begin by learning how to tie our shoes. The problem with new is you don't have time for the old ones. To win once you must have talent, but to win again you must have character. Dictators lead through fear, good coaches do not. Good coaching is about leadership and instilling respect in your players. Dictators lead through fear, good coaches do not. No building is better than its structural foundation, and no man, woman, is better than his, her, mental foundation. When I prepared my original success pyramid years ago, I put industriousness and enthusiasm as the two cornerstones with loyalty right in the middle of the pyramid, loyalty to yourself and to all those dependent upon you. I don't believe in fate. I don't believe in praying to win. You've never heard of them and you never will. When the legs go, the heart soon follows. My philosophy of defense is to keep the pressure on an opponent until you get to his emotions. I found the bench to be the greatest ally when I had to make individuals comply with what was best for the team. Push yourself to keep improving or you'll stay as close to the bottom as you are to the top. The best competition I have is against myself to become better. Never confuse activity with accomplishment. Winning and losing aren't all they're cracked up to be, but the trip to the destination is. Adaptability is being able to adjust to any situation at any given time. When you improve a little each day, eventually big things occur. When you improve conditioning a little each day, eventually you have a big improvement in conditioning. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but eventually a big gain is made. Don't look for the big, quick improvement. Seek the small improvement one day at a time. That's the only way it happens, and when it happens, it lasts. Ability may get you to the top, not it takes character to keep you there, mental, moral, and physical. I always try to make clear that basketball is not the ultimate. It is of small importance in comparison to the total life we live. There is only one kind of life that truly wins, and that is the one that places faith in the hands of the Savior. Until that is done, we are on an aimless course that runs in circles and goes nowhere. Adversity often produces an unexpected opportunity. Look for it. Appreciate and utilize it. This is difficult to do if you're feeling sorry for yourself because you're faced with adversity. Our titles would not have been possible without the unselfishness displayed by all our teams. The team wins, not the individuals. It is normal to enjoy praise and dislike criticism. True character is when you prevent either from affecting you in a negative manner. Without organization and leadership toward a realistic goal, there is no chance of realizing more than a small percentage of your potential. Make today your masterpiece. Always think of passing the ball before shooting it. Each of us has a huge capacity to learn and to achieve. Being ever alert makes the task of becoming all we are capable of becoming so much easier. I discovered early on that the player who learned the fundamentals of basketball is going to have a much better chance of succeeding and rising through the levels of competition than the player who is content to do things his own way. A player should be interested in learning why things are done a certain way. The reasons behind the teaching often go a long way to helping develop the skill. Being your best when your best is needed. The ability to enjoy challenges when things become difficult and to derive exhilaration from them. Success is mine when I work my hardest to become my best, and I alone determine whether I do so. I've never stopped trying to do what's right. I'm not doing it to earn favor with God. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. If pursuing material things becomes your only goal, you will fail in so many ways. Besides, in time all material things go away. One of the greatest motivating things that a coach has is the bench. They all love to play, all of them. You sit them on the bench, and they come around pretty good. Cooperation. To get cooperation, you must give cooperation. Always seek to find the best way rather than insisting on your own way. No one is an overachiever. How can you rise above your level of competency? Everyone is an underachiever to different degrees. The harder you work, the more luck you will have. All that matters is the pressure you put on yourself. External pressures cause people to choke. While you can't control what happens to you, you can control how you react. It's always about focusing not on the mistakes but on the lessons learned from them. Stay the course. When thwarted, try again, harder, smarter. Persevere relentlessly. A gifted player, who is not a team player, will ultimately hurt the team. We can plan a road trip or a workday down to the last detail, but the unexpected will always arise. If we are not malleable, we will get left behind. The best players don't win championships. The best team players win championships. Goals should be difficult to achieve because those achieved with little effort are seldom appreciated, give little personal satisfaction, and are often not very worthwhile. There is a price to be paid for achieving anything of significance. The purpose is to help, to prevent, to correct, to improve, rather than to punish. Criticism is not meant to punish, but rather to correct something that is preventing better results. The only goal is improvement. Earlier in life, I put family in front of faith. I've fixed that. But I always tried to keep work fourth on the list. I was proud when, my wife, Nellie, told an interviewer, I never could tell whether John had a good practice or a bad practice, because he never brought it home. The choice you make, makes you. When you see a successful individual, a champion, you can be very sure that you are looking at an individual who pays great attention to the perfection of minor details. I like to give opinions, not suggestions. Work without joy is drudgery. Drudgery does not produce champions, nor does it produce great organizations. Be quick, but do not hurry. Be true to yourself. Be true to those you lead. When it's over and you look in the mirror, did you do the best you were capable of? If yes, you will probably be okay with the outcome. Details create success. Champions are brilliant at the basics. You better play together as a team or you sit. Show me what you can do, don't tell me what you can do. Constantly be aware and observing. Always seek to improve yourself and the team. Never let your emotions overrule your head. The most powerful leadership tool you have is your personal example. 10 strong horses could not pull an empty baby carriage if they worked independently of each other. Be more interested in character than reputation. Nobody is defeated until he starts blaming somebody else. My advice to you is don't fix the blame. Fix the problem. Too often we get distracted by what is outside of our control. You can't do anything about yesterday. The door to the past has been shut and the key thrown away. You can do nothing about tomorrow. It is yet to come. However, Tomorrow is in large part determined by what you do today. So make today a masterpiece. You have control over that. There are no big things, only a logical accumulation of little things done at a very high standard of performance. Never be thrown off stride in how you behave or what you believe in because of outside events. Acquire peace of mind by making the effort to become the best of which you are capable. Strive to accomplish the very best you are capable of. Nothing less than your best effort will suffice. Happiness begins when selfishness ends. People ask me if I'd permit fancy things, like dunks. Well, if they did dunk, it was with no fancy flair. No behind-the-back dribbles or passes unless necessary. If it was for show, you were on the bench. First, do not betray yourself. Second, do not betray those you lead. The greatest failure of all is the failure to act when action is needed. Do not get so concerned with making a living that you forget to make a life. Being a role model is the most powerful form of educating. Why do we dread adversity when we know that facing it is the only way to become stronger, smarter, better? Discipline yourself so others won't have to. Once you become a good person, then you have a chance of becoming a good basketball player. I always stress condition with my basketball players. I don't mean physical condition only. You cannot attain and maintain physical condition unless you are morally and mentally conditioned. Place the team above yourself always. The best way to improve your team is to improve yourself. Success may result in winning, but winning does not necessarily mean you are a success. Working with others makes us much more than we could ever become alone. The star of the team is the team. We supersedes me. Kindness makes for much better teamwork. Success is a personal matter. Only you as an individual can tell if you did everything within your power to give your best effort. There are little details in everything you do, and if you get away from any one of the little details, you're not teaching the thing as a whole. For it is little things which, together, make the whole. This, I think, is extremely important. The close games are usually lost, rather than won. What I mean by that is games are mostly won because of the opponent making mistakes during crucial moments. When you are through learning, you are through. I believe correcting is the positive approach. I believe in the positive approach. Always have. When we aren't alert, we miss opportunities to improve ourselves. We should always watch for circumstances or situations that can help or harm us and be eager to learn from these encounters. The person who is afraid to risk failure seldom has to face success. I expected my players to make mistakes, as long as they were mistakes of commission. A mistake of commission happens when you are doing what should be done but don't get the results you want. We should never let ambition cause us to sacrifice our integrity or diminish our efforts in other areas. However, we need to remember that we never reach a serious goal unless we have the intention of doing so. In life, worthwhile accomplishments and acquisitions take time. Usually the better the reward, the more time it takes to acquire it. We are all equal in that we can all strive to become the best we are capable of becoming. We can always improve, but we shouldn't compare ourselves to others. We get in trouble when we start trying to measure up to someone else. Make each day a masterpiece. You are no better than anyone else and no one is better than you. Selfishness is the greatest challenge for a coach. Most players are more concerned with making themselves better than the team. The life lessons taught by John Wooden have become legend. Here's a collection of some of the greatest Woodenisms. The courageous struggle for a noble cause should be considered success itself. Those of us who have been blessed with worldly success have an even greater responsibility to make an impact with our time, talents, and resources. Joy makes the longest journey too short. It is important for us to see that our mentors are human and therefore fallible. It makes our own shortcomings more tenable. A mentor must always guide, never push. It was my job to listen to them, offer my perspective, and encourage them to pursue the ideals they believe to be true. Mistakes come from doing, but so does success. We can become great in the eyes of others, but we'll never become successful when we compromise our character and show disloyalty toward friends or teammates. The reverse is also true. No individual or team will become great without loyalty. Make no mistake, I always want to win, but I never fight with an opponent. My fight is within me. It is the struggle to be the best I can be at whatever I do. When you give total effort, everything you have, the score can never make you a loser. And when you do less, it can't somehow magically turn you into a winner. You will never outperform your inner circle. You never fail if you know in your heart that you did the best of which you are capable. There is great joy in doing something for somebody else with no thought in receiving anything in return. Big things are accomplished when we master the little things. Bad times can make you bitter or better. Consideration for others brings many things. You have success within. It's up to you to bring it out. Being yourself, not acting. You therefore can function near your own level of competence. Satisfy your own expectations rather than those of others. You have to work hard, and you have to enjoy what you're doing. If you don't enjoy it, no matter how hard you seem to work, you're not going to be working as hard as you can because you're not enjoying it. One of the greatest motivating factors is the pat on the back, although with some individuals, you have to make the pat a little lower or a little harder. How you run the race, your planning, preparation, practice, and performance, counts for everything. Winning or losing is a byproduct, an after effect, of that effort. We almost have to force or drive ourselves to work hard if we are to reach our potential. If we don't enjoy what we do, we won't be able to push as hard as we need to push for as long as we need to push to achieve our best. However, if we enjoy what we do and if we're enthusiastic about it, we'll do it better and come closer to becoming the best we can be. If I did only what I wanted to do, I would not be obedient to the Creator. Sometimes He wants us to do certain things that we may not feel like doing. When it comes to what God asks of us, we need more than good intentions, we need to follow through fully. I wanted my players to always be searching, especially for truth. I wanted them to know what they believed and be able to defend it. Truth will always stand the test of scrutiny. I believe we are most likely to succeed and ambition is focused on noble and worthy purposes and outcomes rather than on goals set out of selfishness. Never be disagreeable just because you disagree. The player who puts the ball through the hoop has 10 hands. While I made my living as a coach, I have lived my life to be a mentor and to be mentored. Constantly, everything in the world has been passed down. Every piece of knowledge is something that has been shared by someone else. If you understand it as I do, mentoring becomes your true legacy. It is the greatest inheritance you can give to others. It is why you get up every day to teach and be taught. Don't let the things you can't do get in the way of the things you can. Discipline yourself, so others don't have to. Confidence, poise and confidence are not possible unless you have prepared correctly. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Poise and confidence are a natural result of proper preparation. It is impossible to attain proper physical condition without being sound both mentally and morally. Winning breeds winning. A strong leader accepts blame and gives the credit. A weak leader gives blame and accepts the credit. You never want to confuse activity with accomplishment. Losing does not make you a failure. It is when you blame someone for losing when you become a failure. Great leaders are always out front with a banner, instead of behind with a whip. Real wealth comes to the person who learns that we are paid best for the things we do for nothing. You should never try to be better than someone else, you should always be learning from others. But you should never cease trying to be the best you could be because that's under your control and the other isn't. A life not lived for others is not a life, a game not played for others is not a game. The uphill climb is slow but the downhill road is fast. The coach must never forget that he is, first of all, a teacher. He must come, be present, see, diagnose, and conquer, correct. He must continuously be exploring for ways to improve himself in order that he may improve others and welcome every person and everything that may be helpful to him. You can't do anything about yesterday, and the only way to improve tomorrow is by what you do right now. The outstanding coach is a teacher that gets all his squad to accept the role that he considers to be the most important for the welfare of all. Do your best every day. Live each day as if it's your masterpiece. I always talk to my players about today. It's the only day that matters. You control the terms of the conflict. Make them play your game. Don't try to play theirs. Don't permit fear of failure to prevent effort. Rest when you need to, but never quit. He who truly seeks God has found him. Honors are very fleeting, just as fame is. Cherish friendship more. Climb the mountain so you can see the world, not so the world can see you. Focus all your effort on what is in your power to control. If you lose self-control, everything will fall. I think that in any group activity, whether it be business, sports, or family, there has to be leadership or it won't be successful. Never allow anyone else to define your success. Never complain about the officiating. It does no good. During the game I don't want to be fighting two opponents. Since the most important responsibility of a coach in regard to the actual playing of the game is to teach his players properly and effectively to execute the various fundamentals of the game, he is first of all a teacher. If you let social activities take precedence over your academic activities, then you will soon lose your basketball activities. I never yelled at my players much. That would have been artificial stimulation, which doesn't last very long. I think it's like love and passion. Passion won't last as long as love. When you are dependent on passion, you need more and more of it to make it work. It's the same with yelling. People want to believe you are sincerely interested in them as a person, not just what they can do for you. I grew up on a farm. We learned that there was a season to plant, a season to water, and season to harvest. The planting and watering could be laborious, but without those stages, there would never be a harvest. Make friendship a fine art. Before success comes patience. When we add to our accomplishments the element of hard work over a long period of time, we'll place a far greater value on the outcome. When we are patient, we'll have a greater appreciation of our success. You can always look back and see where you might have done something differently, changed this or that. If you can learn something, fine, but never second-guess yourself. It's wasted effort. Does worrying about it, complaining about it, change it? Nope, it just wastes your time. And if you complain about it to other people, you're also wasting their time. Nothing is gained by wasting all of that time. Most people think of poise as calm, self-assured dignity, but I call it just being you. All change may not be progress, but all progress is the result of change. I'm not afraid to die. Stubbornness we deprecate, firmness we condone. The former is our neighbor's trait, the latter is our own. It matters not the subject taught, nor all the books on all the shelves. What matters most, yes, most of all, is what the teachers are themselves. Fairness is giving all people the treatment they earn and deserve. It doesn't mean treating everyone alike. You must have respect, which is a part of love, for those under your supervision. Then they will do what you ask and more. Others may have more ability than you, they may be larger, faster, quicker, better jumpers. But no one should be your superior in respect to team spirit, loyalty, enthusiasm, cooperation, determination, industriousness, fight effort, and character. If we, as coaches, aren't teachers, we are nothing. The purpose of discipline is not to punish, but to correct. What you do in practice is going to determine your level of success. I used to tell my players, you have to give 100% every day. Whatever you don't give, you can't make up for tomorrow. If you give only 75% today, you can't give 125% tomorrow to make up for it. It is difficult for young players to learn, because of the great emphasis on records, but, ideally, the joy and frustration of sport should come from the performance itself, not the score. While he is playing, the worst thing a player can think about in terms of concentration, and therefore of success, is losing. The next worst is winning. No matter how you total success in the coaching profession, it all comes down to a single factor: talent. There may be 100 great coaches of whom you have never heard in basketball, football, or any sport who will probably never receive the acclaim they deserve simply because they have not been blessed with the talent. Although not every coach can win consistently with talent, no coach can win without it. What it comes down to, I believe, is that mentoring often involves telling people what they need to hear, rather than what they want to hear. When you are able to be humbly honest with someone about a situation with which you have personal experience, even if you risk angering or hurting that person you are offering the most valuable gift of all. Why can't we have patience and expect good things to take time? A Dominican monk, Father Henri Didon, used it as a watchword for his pupils in sports at Arcueil College in Paris. Baron Pierre de Coubertin, founder of the modern Olympics, made it the Olympic Games ideal adopted at the Antwerp Games in 1920. I never mentioned winning to my players. I mentioned constantly that all I wanted them to do was the best they could. If they're good enough, the score will be to their liking. If they're not, it won't be, but that's nothing to hang their head about. Sometimes the other fellow is just better than you are. I constantly caution our teams, play your game, just play your game. Eventually, if you play your game, stick to your style, class will tell in the end. This does not mean that we will always outscore our opponent, but it does ensure that we will not beat ourselves. One of my constant reminders is, end practice on a happy note. I want the boys to want to come out to practice, and I want them to get a certain amount of pleasure. It's a game. It should be fun. So I always try to counterbalance my criticism in practice with a bit of praise. I want my players to feel that the worst punishment I can give them is to deny them the privilege of practicing. If they do not want to practice, I do not want them there. Hustle makes up for many a mistake. Pray for guidance and give thanks for your blessings every day. Real happiness comes from the things that cannot be taken away from you. I believe one of the requirements of good leadership is the ability to listen, really listen, to those in your organization. An effective leader is very good at listening, and it's difficult to listen when you are talking. Teamwork is not a preference, it is a requirement. When you choose to become part of a team, you cease to exist as an individual. Loyalty is a cohesive force that forges individuals into a team. In 1948, I began coaching basketball at UCLA. Each hour of practice we worked very hard. Each day we worked very hard. Each week we worked very hard. Each season we worked very hard. For 14 years we worked very hard and didn't win a national championship. However, a national championship was won in the 15th year, another in the 16th, and 8 more in the following 10 years. With the experience to judge, one need not prejudge. There is no great fun, satisfaction, or joy derived from doing something that's easy. I don't think I was a fine game coach, I think I was a good practice coach. You cannot antagonize and be a positive influence, and you will antagonize when you discipline through emotion. No individual should take the blame for a loss, because no individual should get the credit for a victory. Wisdom subdues bigotry. Drink deeply from good books. In spite of all that doctors know, and their studies never end, the best cure of all when spirits fall is a kind note from a friend. Make greatness attainable by all. Build shelter against a rainy day. Don't beat yourself. That's the worst kind of defeat you'll ever suffer. When everyone has good players, teaching will be a telling difference. Many leaders don't listen, and it is one of the greatest methods we have of learning. You need to listen to those under your supervision and to those who are above you. Every person under your supervision is different. They're all different. They're identical in most ways, but not in all ways. You have to study and analyze every individual under your supervision and try to work with them in a way that will be most productive. Character is more important than any other leadership trait. A coach's primary function should be not to make better players, but to make better people. The score will take care of itself when you take care of the effort that precedes the score. You must believe in what you're doing, that what you're doing is the proper thing, the right thing. And you must have faith that things will end up as they should, which doesn't mean as you want them to, but things will work out as they should. Mentors are available at all stages of your leadership life, early, middle and late. Seek them out and listen, absorb their knowledge and use it. If I were ever prosecuted for my religion, I truly hope there would be enough evidence to convict me. Leaders must have patience for those under your supervision. Don't expect too much too soon. Maybe it was easy for you, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy for somebody else. Be sure you have patience. It's important to keep trying to do what you think is right no matter how hard it is or how often you fail. Never stop trying. You have to apply yourself each day to becoming a little better. By becoming a little better each and every day, over a period of time, you will become a lot better. Every day, try to help someone who can't reciprocate your kindness. Whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, the habits you are developing now will be with you for the rest of your life. Dwelling in the past prevents doing something in the present. Losing is only temporary and not encompassing. You must simply study it, learn from it, and try hard not to lose the same way again. Then you must have the self-control to forget about it. The important things to me are your faith, your family, and your friends. If you have that, you have everything. Never try to be better than someone else. Learn from others. It's not what you teach, it's what you emphasize. Too many people look on outscoring someone as winning. I never tried to get that across to my players. If you get too engrossed and involved and concerned in regard to things over which you have no control, it will adversely affect the things over which you have control. There are 3 things an athlete must do. You must be in physical condition. You must execute properly and quickly the fundamentals, and you must have eagerness to sacrifice personal interests or glory for the welfare of the team. Understand there is a price to be paid for achieving anything of significance. You must be willing to pay the price. Passion is momentary, love is enduring. I've been blessed in so many ways. You get ideas across better through listening and the pat on the back method than you do with a kick on the pants. Love is the most powerful four-letter word. I believe it's impossible to claim you have taught when there are students who have not learned. With that commitment, from my first year as an English teacher until my last as UCLA basketball teacher coach, I was determined to make the effort to become the best teacher I could possibly be, not for my sake, but for all those who were placed under my supervision. Be observing constantly. Stay open-minded. Be eager to learn and improve. If you stay intent and your ability warrants it, you will eventually reach the top of the mountain. My assistants and I often would spend more time planning a practice than the actual practice itself. Good players can take coaching, great players can take coaching and learn. Next to love, balance is the most important thing. I never let our players get satisfied, I never let our coaches get satisfied, I was never satisfied. We can always do it better. A player who makes a team great is better than a great player. Our land is everything to us. I will tell you one of the things we remember on our land. We remember that our grandfathers paid for it, with their lives. I'm glad I was a teacher. Success is peace of mind in knowing you did your best. I continually stress to my players that all I expect from them at practice and in the games is their maximum effort. Never try to be better than somebody else. But most importantly, never cease trying to be the best you can be. I do not judge success based on championships, rather, I judge it on how close we came to realizing our potential. How many of us have conflicts with someone else, and how many of us pray for that person? We have individuals with whom we are competitive, or whom we dislike or have a quarrel with, but very few of us have true enemies in the martial sense. And yet if Lincoln could pray fervently, and contemporary reports indicate he did, for the people who were opposing him, how much more can we do for someone we just find a little irritating? Although there is no progress without change, not all change is progress. When opportunity comes, it is too late to prepare. The man who is afraid to risk failure seldom has to face success. Be quick without hurrying. I do not want players who do not have a keen desire to win and do not play hard and aggressively to accomplish that objective. Some of my greatest pleasures have come from finding ways to overcome obstacles. Although I wanted my players to work to win, I tried to convince them they had always won when they had done their best. A coach must never forget that he is a leader and not merely a person with authority. Confidence comes from being prepared. Listen if you want to be heard. Make sure that team members know they are working with you, not for you. Remember, results aren't the criteria for success. It's the effort made for achievement that is most important. How hard you work at correcting your faults reveals your character. There is nothing stronger than gentleness. Being a role model is the most powerful form of educating. Too often fathers neglect it because they get so caught up in making a living they forget to make a life. Loyalty is very important when things get a little tough, as they often do when the challenge is great. Loyalty is a powerful force in producing one's individual best and more so in producing a team's best. Thou didst thy best, that is success. You may be better than the rest, but you are not a success until you have made the effort to become the best you can be. The two hardest things to handle in life are failure and success. Ability is a poor man's wealth. Decisions are more apt to be accepted when you've listened to suggestions first. I wanted them to see the reason behind what I asked of them, not to do things just because I said so. There is no pillow as soft as a clear conscience. If you do enough small things right, big things can happen. What a leader learns after you've learned it all counts most of all. Players with fight never lose a game, they just run out of time. The individual who is mistake-free is also probably sitting around doing nothing. And that is a very big mistake. As long as you try your best, you are never a failure. That is, unless you blame others. The 8 laws of learning are explanation, demonstration, imitation, repetition, 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 repetition. Promise to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit trouble to press on you. The importance of repetition until automaticity cannot be overstated. Repetition is the key to learning. It is harmful to compare yourself to others. Others will do that for you. Sincerity may not help us make friends, but it will help us keep them. Success travels in the company of very hard work. There is no trick, no easy way. Be prepared and be honest. Be at your best when your best is needed. Let's face it, we're all imperfect and we're going to fall short on occasion. But we must learn from failure, and that will enable us to avoid repeating our mistakes. Through adversity, we learn, grow stronger, and become better people. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. The coach is first of all a teacher. Everything we know, we learn from someone else. You can always do more than you think you can. First be the best and then be first. There is no substitute for work. Worthwhile results come from hard work and careful planning. Goals achieved with little effort are seldom worthwhile or lasting. When people ask me now if I miss coaching UCLA basketball games, the national championships, the attention, the trophies, and everything that goes with them, I tell them this: I miss the practices. Mix idealism with realism and add hard work. This will often bring much more than you could ever hope for. I never met a person from whom I did not learn something. If you are not making mistakes, then you are not doing anything. Apply yourself every day to just becoming a little bit better. I would spend almost as much time planning a practice as conducting it. Everything was planned out each day. We must be challenged to improve, and adversity is the challenger. Every day was a good day at UCLA. The true athlete should have character, not be a character. If we fail to adapt, we fail to move forward. The athlete who says that something can't be done should never interrupt the one who's doing it. Time lost is time lost. It's gone forever. Some people tell themselves that they will work twice as hard tomorrow to make up for what they did not do today. People should always do their best. If they work twice as hard tomorrow, then they should have also worked twice as hard today. That would have been their best. Enthusiasm brushes off upon those with whom you come in contact. The goal in life is the same as in basketball. Make the effort to do the best you are capable of doing in marriage, at your job, in the community, for your country. Make the effort to contribute in whatever way you can. You may do it materially or with time, ideas, or work. Making the effort to contribute is what counts. The effort is what counts in everything. Good judgment, common sense, and reason all fly out the window when emotions kick down your door. Condition comes from hard work during practice and proper mental and moral conduct between practices. We're all imperfect and we all have needs. The weak usually do not ask for help, so they stay weak. If we recognize that we are imperfect, we will ask for help and we will pray for the guidance necessary to bring positive results to whatever we are doing. An effective leader develops the ability to correctly identify the pertinent detail or details, incidentals in a market, industry or sport that might create an incremental advantage. Nobody is a real loser until they start blaming somebody else. I don't believe in looking back. If you make a decision that you think is the proper one at a time, then that's the correct decision. Opponents are working very hard to defeat us. Let's not do it for them by defeating ourselves from within. Good values are like a magnet, they attract good people. Promise yourself that you will talk health, happiness, and prosperity as often as possible. Worry about your character, not your reputation. Your character is who you are, and your reputation is who people think you're. We can give without loving, but we can't love without giving. In fact, love is nothing unless we give it to someone. Never try to be better than someone else. Learn from others, and try to be the best you can be. Success is the byproduct of that preparation. Reverse the ball 1 time for a good shot, 2 times for a great shot, 3 times for a layup. Being true to ourselves doesn't make us people of integrity. Charles Manson was true to himself, and as a result, he rightly is spending the rest of his life in prison. Ultimately, being true to our Creator gives us the purest form of integrity. Seek opportunities to show you care. The smallest gestures often make the biggest difference. Never mistake activity for achievement. A mistake is valuable if you do 4 things with it, recognize it, admit it, learn from it, forget it. Promise yourself to make all your friends know there is something in them that is special and that you value. Never did I want to call the first time out during a game. Never. I wanted UCLA to come out and run our opponents so hard that they would be forced to call the first time out just to catch their breath. At that first time out the opponents would know, and we would know that they knew, who was in better condition. This has a psychological impact. Make a decision. Failure to act is often the biggest failure of all. Remember this, the choices you make in life make you. It's not how big you are, it's how big you play. Make each day your masterpiece. Life is now. Life is not later on. Discipline yourself, and others won't need to. Promise to wear a cheerful appearance at all times and give every person you meet a smile. Each of us must make the effort to contribute to the best of our ability according to our individual talents. And then we put all the individual talents together for the highest good of the group. Understanding that the good of the group comes first is fundamental to being a highly productive member of a team. Many have tremendous God-given gifts, but they don't focus on the development of those gifts. Who are these individuals? You've never heard of them and you never will. You are not a failure until you start blaming others for your mistakes. In my opinion, being an effective leader requires being an effective listener. The most productive leaders are usually those who are consistently willing to listen and learn. We're not all equal as far as intelligence is concerned. We're not equal as far as size. We're not all equal as far as appearance. We do not all have the same opportunities. We're not born in the same environments, but we're all absolutely equal in having the opportunity to make the most of what we have and not comparing or worrying about what others have. We are many, but are we much? You'd like to see your team reasonably happy, but that's not your job. Gain their respect and get them to accept their roles. Respect a man, and he will do all the more. Make each day a masterpiece. Don't think your best days are out there somewhere. Why not today? Why can't today be a great day? It can if you believe it will. Team spirit means you are willing to sacrifice personal considerations for the welfare of all. That defines a team player. Promise to think only the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best from yourself and others. Champions never complain, they are too busy getting better. Happiness begins where selfishness ends. The most important key to achieving great success is to decide upon your goal and launch, get started, take action, move. Don't look for the big, quick improvement. Seek the small improvement one day at a time. That's the only way it happens, and when it happens, it lasts. The better conditioned team will probably win in the long run. There is no more powerful leadership tool than your own personal example. It is easier to reach our potential when we learn the value of including others in our quest. Be more concerned with what you can do for others than what others can do for you. You'll be surprised at the results. Profound responsibilities come with teaching and coaching. You can do so much good or harm. It's why I believe that next to parenting, teaching and coaching are the two most important professions in the world. Remember this your lifetime through. Tomorrow there will be more to do. And failure waits for all who stay with some success made yesterday. Tomorrow you must try once more, and even harder than before. The true test of a man's character is what he does when no one is watching. Reputation is what others perceive you as being, and their opinion may be right or wrong. Character, however, is what you really are, and nobody truly knows that but you. But you are what matters most. Don't whine, complain, or make excuses. Perform at your best when your best is required. Your best is required each day. You must be interested in finding the best way, not in having your own way. Leadership is the ability to get individuals to work together for the common good and the best possible results while at the same time letting them know they did it themselves. Class is an intangible quality which commands, rather than demands, the respect of others. Surround yourself with people strong enough to change your mind. Overcoaching can be more harmful than undercoaching. Keep it simple. It is amazing how much can be accomplished if no one cares who gets the credit. While you, the leader, can teach many things, character is not taught easily to adults who arrive at your desk lacking it. Be cautious about taking on reclamation projects regardless of the talent they may possess. Have the courage to make character count among the qualities you seek in others. We don't have to be superstars or win championships. All we have to do is learn to rise to every occasion, give our best effort, and make those around us better as we do it. When you improve a little each day, eventually big things occur. A player who makes a team great is more valuable than a great player. Losing yourself in the group, for the good of the group, that's teamwork. An effective leader allows exceptions to the rule for exceptional results or when circumstance demands. Discipline of others isn't punishment. You discipline to help, to improve, to correct, to prevent, not to punish, humiliate, or retaliate. Big things are accomplished only through the perfection of minor details. We can agree to disagree, but we don't need to be disagreeable. Knowledge is not enough to get desired results. You must have the more elusive ability to teach and to motivate. This defines a leader. If you can't teach and you can't motivate, you can't lead. Don't get discouraged. It is often the last key in the bunch that opens the lock. Ability may get you to the top, but it takes character to keep you there. Any structure must have a strong foundation. The cornerstones anchor the foundation. For some reason the cornerstones that I chose to begin with I never changed. The more concerned we become over the things we can't control, the less we will do with the things we can control. It takes time to create excellence. If it could be done quickly, more people would do it. Without proper self-evaluation, failure is inevitable. You haven't taught until they've learned. The 4 laws of learning are: the first is demonstration of what you want. The second is the criticism of the demonstration. The third is the imitation of the correct model, and the fourth is repetition, over and over until it becomes habit, whereas you don't think about it. 5 years from now, you're the same person except for the people you've met and the books you've read. The team is the star, never an individual player. I am not as good as I ought to be. I am not as good as I want to be. I am not as good as I'm going to be. But I am thankful that I am better than I used to be. Don't permit fear of failure to prevent effort. We are all imperfect and will fail on occasions, but fear of failure is the greatest failure of all. There is no substitute for hard work. If you're looking for the easy way, if you're looking for the trick, you might get by for a while, but you will not be developing the talents that lie within you. There is simply no substitute for work. Perfection is impossibility, but striving for perfection is not. Do the best you can. That is what counts. Being a role model is the most powerful form of educating. Youngsters need good models more than they need critics. It's one of a parent's greatest responsibilities and opportunities. The general feeling is, if you don't treat everyone the same, you're showing partiality. To me, that's when you show the most partiality, when you treat everyone the same. You must give each individual the treatment that you feel he earns and deserves, recognizing at all times that you're imperfect and you're going to be incorrect oftentimes in your judgment. Respect every opponent, but fear none. Young people need models, not critics. Never lie, never cheat, never steal. Don't whine, don't complain, don't make excuses. Flexibility is the key to stability. A good banker isn't careless with pennies. A good leader isn't sloppy about details. Make every day your masterpiece. If you spend too much time learning the tricks of the trade, you may not learn the trade. There are no shortcuts. If you're working on finding a shortcut, the easy way, you're not working hard enough on the fundamentals. You may get away with it for a spell, but there is no substitute for the basics. And the first basic is good, old-fashioned hard work. When I was coaching, I always considered myself a teacher. Teachers tend to follow the laws of learning better than coaches who do not have any teaching background. A coach is nothing more than a teacher. I used to encourage anyone who wanted to coach to get a degree in teaching so they could apply those principles to athletics. Be slow to correct and quick to commend. A leader's most powerful ally is his or her own example. Give me 100%. You can't make up for a poor effort today by giving 110% tomorrow. You don't have 110%. You only have 100%, and that's what I want from you right now. The ability to see the good in others and the bad in ourselves is perfect vision. If we magnified blessings as much as we magnify disappointments, we would all be much happier. Promise yourself you will talk health, happiness, and prosperity as often as possible. Promise to think only of the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best in yourself and others. Promise to forget the mistakes of the past and press on to greater achievements in the future. Don't think that you can make up for it by working twice as hard tomorrow. If you have it within your power to work twice as hard, why aren't you doing it now? 1. Be on time. 2. Never criticize a teammate. 3. Never use profanity. As a leader, you must be filled with energy and eagerness, joy and love for what you do. If you lack enthusiasm for your job, you cannot perform to the best of your ability. Industriousness is unattainable without enthusiasm. There is a choice you have to make in everything you do. So keep in mind that in the end, the choice you make, makes you. Winning takes talent, to repeat takes character. Doing the best you are capable of doing is victory in itself, and less than that is defeat. You can respect a person without necessarily liking that individual. Having the courage to make decisions and take action. Never be afraid to fail. You have nothing to fear if you have prepared to the best of your ability.